Duke, what's with the hair? You got aspirin?
You should feel better momentarily, and your memory will slowly return.
Duke, what's with the hair?
The specific...
Well, I could tell you, but if you're a ding-dong, ding-a-ding-a-ding-wad, hut one, hut two, I need a Charleston chew. Get it, got it, doubt it.
Yeah, Bob. You remember Bob, the guy that's gonna launch a nuclear attack? You got any more abuse you want to hurl my way? Or are you ready to go in here and take care of Bob?
What do you propose, Bob?
When in doubt, C4.
Well, hey there, campers. It's your favorite little Linux penguin named Bob here. And I thought I'd stream playing around a little bit of Linux today. I got two different versions of Linux that we're going to play with. The first one we're going to install, and the second one is just like a VirtualBox image that we're going to play with. The two versions of Linux we're going to play with is called Elementary, which kind of gives you the look and feel of a Mac. And then also Linux Mint, which kind of gives you the look and feel of Windows. So for those of you that are Mac users or Windows users out there, there's versions of Linux for you that you might like. So stay tuned. And let's dive in here. And I want to show you a few websites I like to go to that help me along this way with Linux that you could go to yourself. The first one is one of my all-time favorites called distrowatch.com. And because the abbreviation of a version of Linux is called a distribution or a flavor. And distro is short for distribution. And distro watch, aka watching the latest versions of Linux distributions coming out. This is where you can find out about all the latest and greatest versions of Linux that are currently releasing. Matter of fact, according to this website, there's even got a ranking here on the right-hand side of what versions of Linux are the most popular currently being downloaded from their site. Or actually, in some cases they do offer the ISO, but other cases they give you a link to the web page. For example, the one we're going to go to today is called Elementary OS. And it's a release candidate, and it just came out at 7.1. So I kind of want to check that one out. It came out on the 3rd, actually, so it's just only 3 days old. So I want to see what things have changed about it and so forth. It also could be a little bit buggy since it's not the final release. But let me show you that first site here. This is Elementary OS, and that kind of gives you that. It's like a laptop right here with what looks like the operating system on it, and as you can tell, it kind of gives you that Mac OS feel to it. And normally you could they ask for you to like pay something, but you don't have to. All versions of Linux are always free. So the way you download it is you just click on custom here and you go to 0. Let me tell you, you don't want to pay anything. And then it changes from purchase to download. And then I already downloaded it. Here's what's new in 7.1. It's got some bug fixes that they put in there, some new features for like mail, personal lock screen, and system settings improvements. Let's see here. They got an app center that you can install software from, which we'll take a look at too once we get this installed. Then also there's multitasking view, as you can tell. And then there is picture within a picture. So you kind of like can watch a video while you're actually doing other things and so forth. I like doing that a lot. Then do not disturb. That could help you turn off all the notifications that constantly are bugging you. Some apps you need without ones you don't. So like here's some of the apps that are basically automatically installed on the actual install elementary. And then like screen time limits. So you can actually, if you got families that are using the same computer, you can limit their internet time or their screen time, how much they use it. Everything they do here is open source. This is a version of Linux that's very user friendly. It's based off of Ubuntu, which is based off of Debian. And that is elementary OS. The other OS we're going to mess with, go back here to Distro Watch. And we're going to look up Linux Mint. And where's it at? Oh, it's just called Mint now. See, it's ranked second right there. It's really easy to find. And here's what it kind of looks like. It looks very similar to Windows. I mean, you got your little start button down here. You click on it, and everything pops up for your apps and so forth. And we'll play with that here in a little bit as well. Where I got that image from, it's what's called a VirtualBox image. And that's from a website I like to go to called osboxes. If you don't want to actually install a version of Linux, but you want to play with one in a VirtualBox, which is what I'm using today, is VirtualBox, you can actually download a pre-made image, like VirtualBox or VMware. I use VirtualBox because it's free, it's open source. VMware, you have to pay for certain things. There is a player that's free, but to actually do things in it, you have to pay for the full version. And here is the image I downloaded called Linux Mint 21.2 Victoria. And they give you the option to download a VirtualBox image, a VMware image, also the info, like what they did when they created the image. They have a username and password, and we're not guest VMware tools is already installed, and so forth. So anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Turn my tunes on here. Okay, and we are going to start up Elementary OS install. So give it a second while it boots up here. As always, Zip them if you got them. Okay. And notice right here comes up and it tells you to try Elementary OS or install it, which we're going to do. Most versions of Linux give you the option to test it out first to see how it's going to be. And then you can decide if you want to install it, which we're obviously going to install it, and that's how I want to play with it today. Gonna let it boot up here. All right, here we go. Waiting to see if the GUI is going to load up or not. There it goes. And once again, we're booting up into Elementary OS. This is the equivalent of like taking and downloading the ISO file and putting it on a flash drive or burning it to a DVD and booting up your computer with it. And that way you can just start up with it and play around with it if you want to. Or what we're actually going to do, we're also going to install it. As soon as it gets booted up here. Gotta have my iced coffee, baby. Okay. Gonna choose English.
Screen reader can be turned on with the keyboard shortcut Super plus Alt plus S.
Well, that's just wonderful. Thanks. Screen reader. It's got that capability. So if you can't see very well, it can read to you. And I'm just going through here and selecting like keyboard layout. It's gotta have some of these so it can actually get to the point to where it's going to offer to allow me to install or try it out. We're going to choose demo mode first, so I can show you kind of what the desktop looks like, and then we'll actually kick off an install. Because even if you go into the demo or live version of it, that's just running strictly off of the DVD or USB flash drive and not your computer at all. It still gives you the option of like an icon somewhere on the desktop or something that allows you to choose at a later point if you want to go ahead and install it after you boot it up to the live disk. So this is what it looks like. And we're going to skip all that so we can just play around with it here. And there should be an option here to allow me to install. Yeah, there's an option right here. But here's what comes on the live disk. Not a lot of applications pre-installed. And actually, this is what pretty much comes on the actual installation of Elementary OS as well. But we're going to go ahead and kick off an install. And it wants us to log out. It's going to log us out of the live session. So it could give us the option to actually install here. And installing a modern day version of Linux takes normally about 30 to 40 minutes. All said and done. That doesn't include time to download the actual image first. That means once you got the image on a flash drive or on a DVD, you pop it in your computer, you boot up, you start the install process, and by the time you're ready to log in, it's about 30, 40 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and choose, since this is a VirtualBox, the virtual hard drive, I'm going to go ahead and wipe out what was on here before, which I don't remember what version of Linux was on this before. And we're just going to, it's a 26 gig virtual hard drive. Just select that drive. Hit next. I don't want to encrypt it. Go ahead and erase and install. And now it's wiping the hard drive, repartitioning it, formatting it for this version of Linux, and now it's actually installing. As you can tell right now, it's telling you it's partitioning and now extracting files. And now we just gotta kind of wait. This is where you go grab yourself a snack or sip some iced coffee or something like that. And we just kind of chill. Listen to some good tunes, watch something on Netflix. Slap your neighbor with a fish. Who knows? All kinds of things you can do. And when we get done, since this is VirtualBox, we actually have to also install what's called virtual drivers so that the graphics will go full screen so we can get a bigger area to play with. You normally wouldn't have to do that. And actually, we won't have to do that on the Linux Mint image we got. Because it's already got the stuff installed, I believe. Hey, Perrin, what's up, man? We're playing around with Linux today. I know, and all you really heard was, oh, great, Bob's hacking again. Not. We're installing a version of Linux right now called Elementary OS, which looks very similar to a Mac. And it's a very user-friendly version of Linux. And we're just kind of waiting for it to get done installing. Sure, I got a whole bunch of Monopoly money just laying around. I don't know what good they'll do you, but hey, if you ever come across landing on Boardwalk or Park Place, you'll be solid. Oh, good thing I got my iced coffee. yeah. We're about maybe about another 10 or 15 minutes, I think. Maybe quicker. Elementary OS version of Linux tends to be a lot smaller install. It's not very big because it doesn't install a lot of applications. It just gives you the bare basics to mess with. Because this version or flavor of Linux is geared toward non-technical users. It's geared toward people that are used to using a Mac. It's what it's made to look and feel like. Obviously, it's not Mac OS. It can't run Mac applications and things like that. But it does give you that nice feel of a Mac. If that's something you're used to, then you're more than likely going to like this version of Linux. And then the second one we're going to play with today after this, called Linux Mint. And I've got a VirtualBox image from osboxes that I'm going to boot up, and we're going to play around with it. And Linux Mint is actually, it's the flavor of Linux that my brother loves. He's a avid Windows user. So he can take or leave Mac. He knows enough to be dangerous about computers. And he likes Windows. So that's what he's used to. And when I installed the version of Linux on his computer a number of years back, I put a version of Linux Mint on there, and he really fell in love with it. Why? Because Linux Mint does the same thing that Elementary OS does for Mac users that Linux Mint does for Windows users. It makes the version of Linux easy to use and feels comfortable and usable for Windows users. It's actually what Linux Mint is actually geared toward is for non-technical users to make it user-friendly for someone that comes from a Windows background. Just like Elementary OS is for those that come from a Mac background. So they're I've always had the thought and the theory that if you want to play with a version of Linux, there's more than likely a version of Linux out there for you that you're going to like. And almost all of them, if you download the ISO file, you can put it on a flash drive or a DVD drive. You can boot up and play with it, what's called on a live disk, where it does not mess with your computer at all. And you can boot it up, play with it, see what it's like, see if you like it. You don't have to install it. And you've not done anything to your hard drive. You've not blown away Windows or anything else you got on your computer. And it allows you just to kind of play around with a version of Linux without actually having to install it. Which I might add is something you cannot do with Mac OS or something you cannot do with Windows. In order to play with those operating systems, you either have to install it on your computer or you can run it in like a VirtualBox like what I am right now. But most people don't know about VirtualBox or play around with it. It's more for the more technical side of people. I've been using VirtualBox and VMware for years. Of course, I also have an IT background. I'm a Linux penguin, baby! And one of the things I like doing is when I just want to have a chill day, and I've actually all the years that I've been working in IT and messing with Linux, I tend to every now and then, like on a Friday evening, I grab a pizza and turn something on Netflix or something that I want to watch, and then I'll fire up a new version of Linux and VirtualBox and play around with it. So that I had the idea, since I do that already, maybe I could fire that up and do that on a stream. So that's why I call it Play with Linux. where a Linux Penguin plays with Linux, because that's what I'm doing, playing with Linux. And actually, I didn't know what versions of Linux I was going to play with until literally about an hour before I started the stream. I just decided I went to DistroWatch, which I'll bring those sites back up. This right here is one of my favorite websites called distrowatch.com. I've even made a video about it on my channel. And this what tells you the latest and greatest versions of Linux that are currently out. And that's what I'm going to play with Linux Mint today, because it's got a new version that came out on the 27th. And then the one we're playing with right now, Elementary OS. This is a release candidate version, so it's not the final release yet. Came out on October 3rd. So it's only 3 days old. But it allows me to give an idea. This was my process. When I wanted to play with a version of Linux, I just went to DistroWatch to see what versions were new and grabbed one that tickled my fancy to play with. It was just kind of fun, something to do. And without having to completely mess up my computer. Because like right now, what I'm using is Windows. I'm using Windows to run VirtualBox on. This is the other website here that I'm going to downloaded what's called a VirtualBox image of a pre-installed version of Linux. And they got tons of them to choose from here. And it just so happens I decided I want to do Linux Mint today. So this is Linux Mint right here. And I downloaded it, and it gives me the information I need to be able to log into it and so forth. Let's check on our install and see how far it is. We're getting there. We're almost done. It says finishing the installation. Cool. Then when it gets done, we can actually play around with it. Boot it up and play around with it. Because this is not being installed on my computer. This is being installed in what's called a virtual computer. It's a program called VirtualBox that creates a virtual hard drive in a large file, about 25 gig in this case, because that's how large I made the VirtualBox hard drive to be. And it's installing this version of Linux on that virtual hard drive. And then it's going to boot up the virtual computer with my version of Linux on it. And that allows me to be able to play with a version of Linux that's installed without messing up my computer at all. It's also how I can stream this to you, the full installation and booting and so forth, without going through the process of actually hooking up a real computer to another capture card and things, which I could do. And maybe I may do someday in the future, but this is easier. It's also my process that I've always done on like a Friday. And I'm not having it right now, but I am going to have me some pizza later. Some pizza. Probably eat some pizza and watch some One Piece. Or, well, maybe I ought to watch. I know what parents thinking. Wait a minute, I gave you homework. So I can go watch the Karate Kid movies and watch Cobra Kai. Who knows? Maybe I might do that later too. Once again, if you got iced coffee or something cold to drink, sip them if you got them. No better time to do that while you're waiting for Linux to finish up the install. Oh. The other reason why I like doing this is, now some people may not think this is all that chillax to do. For me, playing around with new versions of Linux without having to install them, it's kind of just chillax for me. All right, so look here. It says Elementary OS 7.1 Horus, that's the code name Horus, has been installed. And it's going to automatically restart in 11 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to restart now. And then the first thing it should do, just like if you installed a new version of Windows or Mac, it should come up and prompt me to create like a username and all this other stuff. Okay. And now the operating system should be booting up. There it is. We got some options. This is a thing called Grub. Grub is what allows you to dual boot a computer between Linux and Windows, or actually in this case, just boot up Linux. I'm going to choose the first option here. And it's currently booting up. Just like any other operating system, we gotta wait for it to load. All right. It's getting here. Okay, comes up and got to choose my language here. Select the correct hard drive. Keyboard layout, not hard drive. And this is where it's going to be asking me my login information. So it's going to be WhataboutBob. Username is WhataboutBob. Password is I really love Linux. No, I'm not telling you what my password is. Forget that. I mistyped it. Okay, there we go. And then I got to type it a second time. And we're going to change the name to VirtualBox dash Elementary Horus. Finish the setup. It's creating my account so I can log into it now. And looky there, I'm ready to log in. Put in my password here. There we go. Now, as you can tell, see this little extra gray area around here? It's not going full screen for me. That's because I haven't installed the VirtualBox additions for graphics. So I'm going to do that real quick here first. Okay. And we're going to do this. Files is the equivalent to like File Explorer in Windows or Binder in Mac. There is my VirtualBox. Looks like maybe this one. Or I may have to open it as a... Yeah, I gotta open it up in Notepad. Not supposed to do that yet. All right, so let's try to see if I can open this in Terminal. I can. All right. This is not something you would normally do in an installation of Linux. This is something I have to do because I want the thing to go full bore, full screen, that is. So I'm going to run. Oops. There we go. Run that program. Oh, it's going to be run as a sudo here. And then I'll have to reboot this after I get through installing the guest additions. It's hopefully going to make this thing look a whole lot nicer looking. Yeah. More so than where it already is. And then we'll get down to the business of playing around with Linux, baby. See, it's we are 40 minutes into the stream. And we're already in the operating system. See, about 30, 40 minutes. Which, by the way, I might add, it takes a lot less time than installing a version of Mac OS or Windows. Windows, you're looking at about maybe an hour, hour and a half, depending on what you got set up. Oh. All right. I got to do something real quick here. I got to install some additional packages first. There we go. And then I can run it again, and hopefully it will install the guest additions. It also could be, I could be having difficulty because this is a release candidate. It's not the final release of this. It's only 3 days old, so it's bound to have bugs. But for me, that's part of the fun. I just like to, I feel like I'm on the cutting edge of the Linux community. When I play with a new version of Linux, it's like, in this case, only 3 days old. But sometimes I like the little extra challenges that come with an operating system that ain't fully baked. All right, we're going to run the guest additions again. And it's doing its thing. Excuse me. I had to sip some iced coffee. And I don't know if I'm going to do this every Friday, but I may do it periodically because I get one of those moods like I was last night. I felt like I wanted to play with a version of Linux and play around with it. So I thought, hey, I'll stream this. Actually, I thought about it a couple days ago. Now think about it. And typically, these are going to be shorter streams if I do them on a more regular basis. No more than about maybe 2 hours, I would say. Just long enough to play with maybe 1 or 2 versions of Linux. And if this works out today, I may wind up doing this to where I install one and then play with the other one I got off of like a VirtualBox image. Osboxes or a couple other websites I use. And it's still doing its thing. Now, see, did you notice that? I moved this down there, and the dock down here disappears. But I pull this up, and it comes right back. And if you see right here in the dock, we got multitask view. We got files, which is like Finder. We got a web browser built in, which I believe is like either Epiphany or Chromium. Then we got mail program. We got some tasks. We got a calendar, music. We got a video player. We got photos, system settings, and then also the App Store. Well, not store, it's App Center because everything in here is free. You're not really buying it. Because that's the cool thing about Linux is free, baby. Free as in a free hot dog. See, here's my philosophy. This is one of the reasons why I like Linux. Is you could actually have somebody give you a free hot dog, and then you turn around and buy the same hot dog for $1. And they're exactly the same. And you eat them, and the free one always tastes better. I think it's because it's free. Come on. It's just taking its sweet old time today. Meanwhile, we'll look up here and see what applications are already installed. Like I said, there shouldn't be a lot. We got the App Center, we got a calculator, a calendar, we got a little webcam thingy so you can take photos and stuff, code, document viewer, feedback. That's so you can submit bug issues. Whoa! Looky there! Look what happened. You see how that went full screen now? That's because I got the guest editions installed. Nice. Sweet. All right, back to the applications here. We got files, we got mail, multitasking view. We'll open some of these too. Let's go into system settings. Just to show you just how much this kind of reminds you of Mac. Notice how it's kind of very similar laid out to that. You even got like a user count area down here. So you can like create additional users. You got an unlock button that when you click on it, it's going to prompt you for your password. So that it unlocks it, it allows you to be able to add users and so forth. Gives you that Mac OS feel. There's displays, which we've only got one display, obviously. Turn on night light, which means if this was after dark, it would actually create the screen to look a little bit. Believe it or not, this may seem like a silly setting, but I love this setting. Late at night, it makes the glow of your monitor feel more warm and less bright. And I'm a night bird. I like staying up late at night playing with Linux or playing video games or something like that, or watching Netflix. Just what I do. Go here to System. And this thing can tell me about what version of Linux it's running, the kernel that is. This is based off of Ubuntu 2004. And then we got hardware right here. It thinks it's a dual core because that's what the VirtualBox has been set up as, with a VMware SGA adapter of 1 gig of video card memory. That's why it feels a little sluggish. And then it's got a 26 gig virtual hard drive. Firmware, not available. You can set up printers, mouse, touchpad, sound. Currently using the built-in audio, which I believe.
Front, left. Front, left.
Not very loud. Let me turn it up. Did it lock up? No, it's just my VirtualBox. I think what happened is normally when you install the guest editions, you normally want to restart, which I didn't do. I just went in and started playing around with things. I should know better. We'll go into App Center next. Show you all the really cool applications you can get. Maybe even load up a game. If it'll play. And let me do something here real quick. Before I log in. Okay. All right, bear with me here for a second. I'm going to do something else real quick. And I'm checking out something real quick. Hold on. Okay. All right, so let's dive in here. Let's take a look at App Center. And if the first thing comes up, we got like, of course, it's going to have like a banner here of applications you get, like Journaler, you can Icon Browser, Minder, Leopad. I mean, these so you can listen to podcasts and stuff. And keep in mind, all these are free with the exception of the ones that are actually created by Elementary. They sometimes do offer some ones that are paid, which is a unusual thing for a version of Linux to do, but that has something that's not been the case. I think this is a recent development with our current economy. I've been seeing some of that happen, but most of the stuff in here is still free. Go to math and science. And let's see here. We got Atlas, which is like a map program. But it looks very similar to like what maps in Mac looks like. We'll go ahead and get that. We'll play around with it for a second. I wonder if it's got... Well, actually, we can just... It's done installing it. That was cool. That's pretty fast. And where's it at? They're starting up? There it is. Let's look at I'm not familiar with London at all, so I just thought, hey, why not? I want to say that's the UK, right? Yeah, there we go. Use that one. And there's where it is. It's pinpointed. Let's see if we can zoom in on it. Now looky there. All the streets around the city of London. I wonder, just out of curiosity, does it even exist? Is it going to pop up? Ha! 221B Baker Street. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's supposedly where Sherlock Holmes lives. And there's a Sherlock Holmes museum right there next to it. That is pretty cool. I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan. That reminds me, I need to break out that. I got a bunch of those games too. I need to break those out and play them. There's Baker Street in London. And there is 221B Baker Street right there. Wow. Cool. All right. Enough playing around with that. Let's see what else we can get into. Oh, wait a minute. I want to load something else to back up. I don't remember the name of the program. Maybe it's under education. Cat facts? Sure, why not? Let's see what cat facts there are. I didn't know this was an app. Not that I'm a real big cat lover. I'm not. I'm a penguin. I guess it's still installing. Yeah, it says it's still installing right down there. All right, let's go into everybody's favorite area, fun and games. Let's see here. Trivia. Why not? Let's put it on Do Not Disturb. That's a new feature. In this version of Elementary, that is. All right, let's see what else there is while we're waiting for that to install. It's probably taking some time because my internet, I'm also streaming. So it takes a little bit longer to download things sometimes, unfortunately. Take a look at the Photos program here. And give me a second here. I'm going to clear out my pictures. All right, let's see if I can see them. Whoops. Yes, I do. Weird. VirtualBox is giving me a problem. Fine, done downloading. No, it's still installing trivia. Wonder why I can't see the pictures in that. Let me check something else real quick here. Now we'll just move on to something else. This is not a Linux issue. This is a VirtualBox issue. For whatever reason, VirtualBox is not wanting to play nice today. Which that happens. Alright, let's try this. Maybe that will give me access. All right, let's see what that does. If it doesn't work this time, I'm not going to worry about it. Nope, not going to worry about it. Is it finally done installing? Come on! Well, let's take a look at the web browser here. Wait a minute. Is it finally done installing? It is. We get to play the trivia app. There's the web browser. Kind of gives you that look and feel of Safari, doesn't it? And there is the trivia app. Ooh, let's do a quick game. All right, I guess we got to think now. During the Mongolian invasions of Japan, what were the Mongol boats mostly stopped by? I have no idea. Let's choose typhoons. It's not going to tell me, I guess. What is the fourth book of the Old Testament? Oh, I should know this. Numbers, I believe. Could be wrong. What is the name of the artificial intelligence system in the 1983 film War Games? Master Control Program. That's from Tron. War Operation Plan Response. What's the first interactive movie video game? I want to say that was Dragon's Lair. Where was Conway Westport? No clue. I ain't got a clue. We'll choose Chicago. Sounds as good as any place as any. What nickname was given to Air Canada Flight 143 after it ran out of fuel and glided to safety in 1983? Gimli Glider, maybe? Which of these games takes place in the Irish town of Doolin? With the option to play as one of the characters, Ellen and Keats. I don't know. I've not played any of those games. Shadow of the Colossus, maybe? Who knows? Which WWF... These are so random. Which WWF wrestler had the nickname Ayatollah Rock and Roll? Maybe Shawn Michaels? Which novel by John Grisham was conceived on a road trip to Florida while thinking about stolen books with his wife? Ain't got a clue. I have never read John Grisham books. A passo doble is a type of Italian pasta sauce. Passo doble. False. Doesn't sound like it. I got 5 out of 10. All right, let's view my answers. Oh, I got the first one right. During the Mongolian invasions of Japan, what were the Mongol boats mostly stopped by? Typhoons. What was the 4th book of the Old Testament? Numbers. I got that one correct. The AI in war games was War Operation Plan Response. What was the first interactive movie video game? Oh, I got that wrong. Well, I thought it was Dragon's Lair, but it's Astron Belt. Never heard of that. Where was Conway West born? Had no clue. Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. Hey, now that one I just guessed on what the nickname of the Air Canada Flight 143 was called. Gimme Glider. I got the clue because it says ran out of fuel and glided. Hence the name Glider. Which of these games take place in Irish Town? Okay, folklore. I should have guessed that. Folklore. That makes sense. And actually, that was a toss-up between Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels. I chose the wrong one. John Grisham novel is Camino Island. And Passo Doble is a type of Italian pasta is false. Okay, so what is Passo Doble? Let's find out. Get the web browser up here. Let's search for Passo Doble. And then we're going to switch over to playing with Linux Mint so you can take a look at it. We can see what it's all about. Okay. Paso Doble is a fast-paced Spanish military march. Not even close to Italian pasta sauce. Okay, couldn't even be different. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to shut down this one. That is Elementary OS, and it looks as a look and feel of Mac. What's designed to do? It's really easy, real clean looking. And then we're going to fire up the next one. Linux Mint we don't have to install. Like I said, I got a VirtualBox image of it, and we're going to fire it up and see what it does. Okay, got it booting up now. And while we're waiting, as always, take a sip. Perfect time to sip. Oh. All right, it's booting up. They're going to boot. There it goes. Now, of course, I didn't install this. Somebody else did and created a VirtualBox hard drive, and I just downloaded the virtual hard drive and put it in, booting it up. So this is Linux Mint. This is geared toward Windows users. It might switch over to Linux. It's very simple to use, easy to use. And we have to go over here to login information so I can know how to log in. Which right here they tell me the username is osboxes and the password is osboxes.org. Okay. So we're going to, and it looks like I need to install the guest editions. OS box. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. There we go. osboxes.org was the password. Kept fat fingering it. Well, fat flippering it. You have no idea how hard it is to type with flippers. It takes the hot and peck method to the next level. Yeah, just heard something. Okay, there we go. Now, oh, I don't have to install guest editions. It's already pre-installed. Good. I thought maybe it was, but they didn't really say. I mean, it didn't seem like it was. All right, so this is starting up. This is a GUI called graphical user interface, a look and feel called Cinnamon. Welcome to your new operating system. Let's go. First step, we got desktop colors, so we can make it look like what we want. System snapshots, driver manager, that is. Not device manager, it's driver manager, is what they call it. Multimedia codecs, update manager, system settings, software manager, firewall, documentation. All right, so let's just take a look here. So if I click on the little LM at the bottom here for Linux Mint, the logo, you can see all, here's system settings. And we got everything in here from applets, background. And notice there's the default background. We could choose, we could change the background. Oh, let's go with this one. Look at that. That looks kind of cool, doesn't it? I think so. There's some backgrounds on different versions of Linux. This is called Victoria. So this is the ones that come with Victoria exclusively. Ooh, Ocean. Look at that. That's kind of cool. Morocco. One of the things I love about Linux, eye candy. It's always eye candy. Love it. Let's go back to that one. We'll leave it on it. And we can go in here. There's effects on how like everything moves around in the window, graphical user interface. The cinnamon that is. There's online accounts. You can set those up. See what else we got here to choose from. Here's all the applications that are pre-installed with it. Because this is just a basic install of Linux Mint. We got some accessories here. Like for example, I can pull up disks right here. And take a look at. There is my virtual hard drive image. Trying to see what else comes with Redshift. That's another one of those things that you can run at night that allows you to, and if you notice right here, it's down here. I can go to color temperature is okay. What it's going to do is it's going to make it look warm at night, which is really kind of nice. Comes pre-installed with Firefox. That's nice. Oh, I didn't even notice that the icon's down here as well. Welcome to Firefox. And of course, if you want to run Google Chrome, you can. There are versions of Google Chrome for Linux. Matter of fact, I want to say this version of Linux. Tell me what version of Linux this is. Or it's based off. It should be based off of Ubuntu, if I remember correctly. We can even change the way the login window looks. osboxes.org. You can actually load like pictures and stuff. You can change the way GTK looks, for example. Make it look red instead. Change the icons. Users. Here's like driver manager. There is also a application kind of like store here. We'll open it in a minute. Take a look at it. Right now, what it's doing is it's actually going out and trying to find drivers for the hardware I have. But since this is a virtual hard drive, it may not find a whole lot. And in future streams, I might also just grab a version of Linux and maybe set up something on it, like a Minecraft server or something like that, just to play around with things and see how things go. All right, I'm gonna give up on that. It's probably not gonna find anything because, like I said, this is VirtualBox, so it has a hard time finding things since there's not really any type of hardware out there that's really gonna find. It's all virtual. Let's see what else we got here. So if I went here to search, that's not what I told it to do. Search for Google Chrome. Click on download now. And it should automatically detect. I want to say this is a version of Ubuntu, but since I haven't played with Linux Mint in a while, I don't know if they changed flavors it's based off of. Nope, looks like it's still Ubuntu, because it comes up right here and it should detect what version of Linux I have, like Debian or Ubuntu based, and allow me to download the .deb file. And it looks like it's downloading it right now. It's downloading pretty quickly. We're going to close that. We're going to open up. Actually, if we double click on it, it should give us the option to go ahead and install it, maybe. Let's see if it does. Yep, it does. As you can tell, this looks very similar to like File Explorer. Once again, I believe it's called Files. Oh, cool. It's already got LibreOffice installed. Let's go ahead and install the package. osboxes.org. And now it's actually going to start installing Google Chrome. And we'll let it do that while we check out a few other things here. Yeah, additional software's got to be installed. That's fine. Got RhythmBox installed. What's under themes here? This is some of the stuff I really like doing in Linux. Making it look like I want it to look. What's so awesome about it that it's customizable to pretty much any way you want it to look. You can make any version of Linux look like Windows, look like Mac, or just have the look and feel of Mac, or look and feel of Windows, or just completely however you want it to look. Now I'm going to choose dark option here. Boy, VirtualBox is really moving slow today for some reason. Not sure why. Normally it's a lot snappier than this. Oh, cool. Look at that. Change the theme. Nice. I like it. And it looks like Google Chrome has finally got installed. Maybe. Yep, there it is. And here we go, starting up Google Chrome. And there you go. There it is. Good old Chromey Chrome. See what else we got here. This is what's called Software Manager, which is kind of like their equivalent to the store, the Microsoft Store or something. As soon as it loads up, I just want to see what packages are available in the store here for Linux Mint. Maybe even install one, and then that's pretty much all I've got for today after that. Because I just wanted to fire up these two versions of Linux, the latest and greatest of them. I've played with them in the past, and I just wanted to see what they look like now. And we're still waiting for it to load. It's generating the cache so it can load a lot faster. Just kind of what it does. Okay, let's see here. Well, I guess while it's doing it, we'll see if we can pull something else up. Let's take a look at... Oh, never mind. Of course, I go to select something else, and that's when Linux goes, hey, guess what? It's open. Notice you got like the option to even get Steam here. I selected on LibreOffice Calc, which is like Microsoft Excel. So that's what's loading up right now. And we'll open it up, take a look at it real quick, and then shut it back down. And there you go. And that comes pre-installed on Linux Mint. If you can also get this on Elementary OS, you just have to download it and install it. I imagine it's probably in the Software Center. Okay, and if you notice, like right here, there's Discord, there's Cheese, which is like a webcam program, Calibre for ebooks, Steam, VLC, Audacity, Stellarium. That's a cool one to play with. Let's get that one. Basically what Stellarium is 3D photorealistic skies in real time. So you can kind of look at the constellations here. We'll click on install, telling us all the little additional programs that it has to install too, libraries and so forth, and that's fine. osboxes.org. And now it's installing. And we'll play around with Stellarium for a few minutes, and then I'm probably going to end. Because I'm about to end of my iced coffee, and I need more. Plus, I got to go work on a video. I got a video to work to edit. Hopefully I'll get it out later on tonight. If I get it done and edited. And if everything goes to plan, Sunday afternoon around 3 o'clock Eastern time, I'm going to be playing part 2 of the Star Wars Force Unleashed replay. I started playing that Wednesday night, and I want to continue playing it. Notice right here, it's only a 200 meg download, but because I'm streaming and my internet is pretty much junk, not very fast, it's going to take a while to download 200 meg. It is what it is. That's why normally when I'm streaming, I don't download things because it just takes forever. Hey, Wolfie. Glad to see you. First time in chat, I believe. No rocket launcher. It's on my back, dude. Can't you see it's on my back? That's the big red thing. Are you kidding me? This little penguin's always got his rocket launcher on. Because I'm a serious penguin. Look here, I'll see if I can't. Can you see it? There you go. See, it's back there. Yes, exactly. Rats foiled again. Glad to see you here, Wolfie. We're getting ready to, as soon as Stellarium installs. What I'm doing today is playing around with 2 different versions of Linux. We got through playing around with one before called Elementary OS, which caters to being user-friendly for people that are used to using Mac. And this is a version of Linux called Linux Mint. And Linux Mint is a user-friendly version of Linux that caters to people that are used to using Windows. Okay, cool. Stellarium is finally downloaded. Close the store there. And this, oh, there it is. Oh, that's cool. We can have simulated eyepieces on a telescope. This is a program that allows you to look at like the night sky and so forth. It's free. Matter of fact, I want to say Stellarium is even offered on Windows. Let me look. Curious now. The free open source planetarium software. Yep, there is a Windows version of it. Actually looks like it's on all the major operating systems, Linux, Mac, and Windows. There's even a web version of it. Cool. Let's go back and play with it in Linux. Okay, wait a minute here. I'm going to steal even more of your time. Well, you know, that's what us penguins do. We're good at wasting time, dude. That's what we do. Man, there is so much to this program since last time I played with it. Crying out loud. It's showing latitude and longitude stuff. Trying to figure out where to look. It has so changed since I played with this. I don't know how to do anything in this. Night mode, center on selected object in space, switch between that control. There we go, there's something. Oh, it drew the art in the sky so you can kind of look at it. There's Scorpio, I guess. Wow, there is so much going on here. Oh, there's the one of the dippers. The Little Dipper, Ursa Minor. I could play with this for hours. Well, maybe not hours. Quite a bit. So I guess even if you don't want to play with the version of Linux, you can, oh, there's the Big Dipper. You can always play with Stellarium. It's free, it's open source, allows you to take a look at the constellations. See what's going on in the night sky where you're at. Actually, let's take a look. Oh, that is so cool. Look at that. It's like looking through a telescope at it. Wherever the rose cluster is. Let's change eyepieces. I don't recognize any of these, but Canon, I recognize that one. And let's change telescopes. Ooh. I can't tell it really did a whole lot. But then if you look right here, it tells you the rose cluster, which I've never heard of. It tells you all the little information about it and so forth. I guess you really got to be into astronomy. I'm into science, but it's been a long time since I've done any type of like stargazing or anything. And that's what this is. It's not zodiac or anything. It's stargazing. It's looking at constellations. Oh, we can choose the oculars right there. Choose the telescope. So it gives us a better looking at things. Oh, look at that. Wow. Just depending on the telescope, it gives you a different magnification. There's the base telescope that it chooses for you. Ooh, that's nice. That's a wider ocular lens. Whoa, what was that? That's got like a hood on it or something. And this is just looking at it through binoculars. There you go. All right. So that is a program called Stellarium. This is Linux Mint. And that's all I wrote. I'm going to call it a quits here. I'm going to go grab me some more iced coffee and going to go work on editing a video. And hopefully it'll be out later on tonight or tomorrow one. At least that's the plan. And actually it's going to be a Star Wars Ahsoka video. One on the finale was earlier this week, and it's not going to be based on that, but it's going to be just a video on the Ahsoka series. So just looking to see if there's anything else here I want to look at real quick. Nope. I think that's pretty much it. All right. So, oops. Try to get the splash logo. Okay, so that was playing around with two different versions of Linux. One called Elementary OS, another one called Linux Mint. And a program called VirtualBox, and I hope you, if you just now showing up, that you may go back and actually watch the stream, because I will put this thing listed as public shortly after the stream ends. What's coming up? I'm going to go edit a video that hopefully will be releasing later on the Ahsoka series tonight, and then also on Sunday I'm planning on playing part 2 of a series I started on Star Wars, The Force Unleashed, which I really love that game, and I haven't played it in a number of years, so I thought I'd check it back out again. And that's pretty much about it at the moment. So anyway, if you are watching this video later, or if you are sitting there lurking, I thank you for your time. And if you would, I'd really appreciate if you smash that like button and maybe even subscribe if you like my content. If you liked how crazy this little silly penguin is, or even if you just like iced coffee, or slapping a fish with iced coffee. That would be a waste of iced coffee. Can't do that. Anyway, I'm the crazy little geeky Linux penguin named WhataboutBob, and I'm gonna go find a computer that's got an old version of Windows on it, blow it up with a good old can of tuna. I don't know if you can blow things up with tuna or not, but I'm gonna try. Anyway, I'll catch you later, peeps.